Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to pull out the key insights from different sources just for you. Today, we're getting into something really fundamental, I think. This deep connection, sometimes a bit surprising, between reading and writing. And here's a thought to kick us off. Maybe, just maybe, a lot of us are writers deep down, even if we don't, call ourselves that. Think about it, scribbling stories as kids, keeping a journal, maybe even just crafting those careful work reports. We've all used words to create something.
Oh, absolutely. And that journey into writing, finding your voice, it's so personal. The starting line is, well, it's different for everyone. Some people just seem to burst out with words early on. Others, like we'll talk about today, they take a much longer path, maybe a more winding one, to figure out what they really want to say.
Exactly. And that journey is really at the heart of this fantastic article by Roberta Hill, To Be a Good Writer, You Must Be a Good Reader. What really jumped out at me was how she connects writing, reading, and even travel. It's like these three big human things are intertwined in ways you don't expect.
Like they share a secret language.
Yeah.
So our mission today really is to unpack how getting intentional about our reading habits can seriously boost our writing. But it's more than just that. We'll see how this whole process kind of mirrors how we experience the world when we travel, how we really engage with it.
Okay, so let's dive into Roberta Hill's own story, because it's quite something. She mentions telling stories as a little kid, but mostly through drawings, before she could even really spell, capturing her world that way. But here's the kicker, the thing that makes you stop and think. She didn't actually learn to read well until she was about 16.
16, yeah, that's quite late compared to most.
It really is, and it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Did that delay somehow maybe protect her voice, keep it raw away from, early school pressures?
That's a really interesting thought. It flips the usual script. Maybe without that early formal instruction, she came to language later with a different kind of curiosity, perhaps more emotional, less structured, which could explain, as she suggests, those later bursts of writing. She talks about these long silences, then suddenly words pouring out, often when feelings just spilled over, especially when she was in love, apparently.
That link between intense emotion and writing, it feels very real, like the words were just waiting. But then life happens, right? That early passionate writing often shifts. For a lot of us, writing becomes, practical, professional, and technical. Less reflection, more reports. It's a common path.
It is. And the danger there, I think, is that writing turns into a performance, a chore almost, something you do for someone else, a boss, a client.
But you lose that personal connection.
Exactly. And what's so powerful about Roberta's story is her return to writing later with real dedication. She found her secret, as she calls it.
She just stopped trying to impress anyone. No teachers, no bosses, no imagined audience. She started writing purely for herself.
Ah, okay. That's huge.
It totally changed things. It wasn't about performing anymore. It became about discovery. She said it felt like a conversation with herself, like a conversation I didn't even know I'd been longing to have. What do you make of that, finding this hidden dialogue?
Oh, that's beautiful. It's like writing is self-listening, isn't it? We're always listening outwards, but writing can force you inwards. And maybe that's the real gift of writing later in life, having the courage to just say, this is for me, and letting that be okay, letting it be enough.
Yeah, like those thoughts that pop into your head when you're driving. Totally unexpected. Writing kind of pins them down. Now, she also draws this brilliant parallel between reading habits and travel habits. How we read on the road apparently says a lot about us.
It does. The article paints these really recognizable pictures, these archetypes. You've got the person who grabs a thriller at the airport, rips through it on the plane, and maybe forgets the plot by the time they land.
Guilty as charged sometimes.
Yeah. Or the person with the big guidebook, but they only really skim the top 10 must-sees. They don't dig into the history or the local stories in the back.
Right, the checklist traveler.
And then there's the type who maybe tucks a slim book of poetry or some literary fiction into the day pack. And they pull it out in a quiet square or on a bench, letting the words kind of mix with the atmosphere around them.
So what's the connection? She suggests how you read mirrors how you travel. The skimmer might be the one rushing through 5 cities in 10 days, right? Just scratching the surface.
Exactly. Tick, tick, tick.
Whereas the lingerer with the book, they might spend a whole week just exploring one neighborhood, really soaking it in, reading the place as much as the book.
Yeah, letting the local rhythm, the smells, the details really sink in. It's a slower, deeper engagement.
I definitely fall into the skim the guidebook trap when I'm trying to see everything, and you do feel like you miss something.
It's easy to do. And the idea goes deeper. The books you choose can actually become part of the landscape of your trip. Imagine reading Hemingway in a Spanish cafe, feeling that atmosphere he wrote about.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
maybe reading Mavis Gallant while walking around Montreal. Or a moody mystery novel in a rainy Dublin pub with the drizzle right outside.
The book and the place start talking to each other.
Precisely. It creates this really unique, immersive memory.
And that blending makes both the book and the place unforgettable, as she puts it. It lifts it beyond just tourism. Which leads us right back to the core argument here. To be a good writer, you must be a good reader.
Right. And that sounds simple, but there's a lot packed into it. It's not just about, gobbling up books like snacks. It's about paying attention. Reading, in this active sense, is training. It trains your ear for rhythm, your eye for detail.
And your heart for empathy, she said.
Yes, exactly. It hones all those senses you need for writing well.
And that's how it directly impacts your own writing. When you read widely and closely, you start noticing the little choices other writers make. That perfect turn of phrase that just feels right, or a sentence that hits you hard emotionally, or even just a pause, a bit of white space that builds tension. These aren't just tricks in someone else's book. They become tools, conscious or not, that you can bring to your own work. They add texture, depth.
It's like a musician listening closely to other musicians to learn new techniques.
Totally. And Roberta makes this interesting confession. She says, I am still not a great reader, and I prefer nonfiction.
Yeah, that's revealing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It challenges the idea that you have to read only highbrow literary fiction to be a good reader for writing.
Yeah.
Her point seems to be that she learned the core lesson from travel. Rushing gets you postcards. Lingering gets you the real story.
Right, seeing the footnotes and margins of a place.
Exactly. And she applies that to reading text, whatever the genre.
Yeah.
You need to spend time inside other people's stories, really see how they're built, to learn how to build your own.
So the flip side is, if you're a bad reader, a skimmer, maybe, your writing suffers. Sentences end up flat, like instant soup without seasoning, she says. You lean on cliches because you haven't stocked your mental pantry with fresher ingredients from other writers.
Yeah, you miss the nuances. Your characters or ideas feel thin, like cardboard cutouts.
You can almost taste the blandness, can't you? Like a rushed email that has zero personality.
Absolutely. It shows up everywhere. And the travel analogy is so sharp. If you never look up from your phone, you'll come home saying every city felt the same.
Ouch. Too real. You just see airports and hotels.
You miss the whole point.
But the good reader, like the good traveler, knows how to pause. They notice the subtle differences. Like, her examples, the faint smell of grilled sardines in Lisbon, or how Paris traffic lights pause just a beat longer. Tiny details that make a place specific.
Those observations transform the experience. And it's the same with writing. Bad readers rush, good readers pause, reflect, see.
So the good news is, becoming a better reader isn't about tackling War and Peace, unless you want to, of course.
Right. It's about reading with intention, like choosing to wander down a side street instead of just sticking to the main tourist route. Quality over quantity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's training that reader's eye. And the article gives 5 really practical ways to do this. First, read like a thief.
I like that.
Yeah. Notice how writers start paragraphs, end them, introduce people, build tension, and then borrow tricks shamelessly. It's apprenticeship, not stealing.
Good way to put it. Okay, second, slow down. Don't race. Pick one page, even one paragraph that struck you, and reread it. Ask why it works or why another bit feels off. That micro-level analysis really sharpens your own internal editor.
Makes sense. Third, switch genres. Don't just read one thing. Memoir teaches intimacy. Poetry teaches rhythm and precision. Even a good travel guide teaches clarity and description. Mix it up.
Broadens your toolkit. Okay, fourth, annotate your margins, scribble notes. Wow. A question mark. It makes reading active, a dialogue. Helps you remember what hit home and why.
And finally, number 5, read aloud. Your ear catches things, your eye might miss clunky sentences, awkward rhythms.
Oh, definitely. That's a great practical tip.
So the big takeaway is it's less about the number of books read, more about the depth of reading. Treat reading like practice, not just leisure.
And this all loops back beautifully to that idea of writing for yourself, which connects again to traveling for yourself.
Yeah, the article makes that link really clear. If you plan a trip just for the Instagram pics, or to please your family, or tick off guidebook lists.
You end up exhausted.
Right, and with memories that feel more borrowed than lived. And she says the same thing happens with writing. If every word is aimed at what others might think.
You lose your own voice. You lose that genuine discovery.
What's the cost of that, really, when creativity just becomes about external validation?
Well, the cost is authenticity, isn't it? You become a performer, not an explorer of your own thoughts and world. The article stresses that the best trips often involve getting lost, stumbling on something unexpected, lingering without an agenda.
Those are the moments that stick.
Exactly. And it's the same with writing. The real gems emerge when you're not trying to impress, but just paying attention to what you notice, what you find interesting.
There's real freedom in that. The private notebook, she says, is like the literary version of a solo trip.
No audience, no fixed itinerary, just you figuring out what you actually care about.
Owning your own story.
Yeah. And just like the best trips change you in subtle ways, writing for yourself leads to discoveries that might not wow anyone else, but
They're the ones that stay with you.
they become part of you.
So, wrapping up this deep dive, it seems pretty clear these things, reading with intention, writing authentically, traveling meaningfully, they're not separate. They're linked paths.
Yeah, paths to understanding the world and understanding ourselves a bit better, sharpening our focus, deepening our experience.
Cultivating that reader's eye, daring to write for ourselves.
It's about moving through life more aware, isn't it? See the details, the footnotes and margins of the world, not just the headlines. Finding the courage to say, this matters to me.
Exactly. So here's something to think about. If writing is a conversation with yourself you didn't know you needed, what kind of conversation could intentional reading spark for you? What might you discover by really engaging with the world on the page and on your next journey? We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.